Hi, this is Paul from Strung Too Tight.
This is Stephen here. Hello.
And we are privileged to have Davis Cup, GB Davis Cup player, legend from Liverpool. As I've written on the title, the best thing to come out of Liverpool since Steve Melia.
That's actually the nicest thing he's ever said about me as well. So, and also by far the third. You're forgetting Ken quite clearly, and many others.
Yeah.
But I'll take it.
But it's great to have you on, Neal, and thank you for taking the time out to come and chat with all these people that have come online, and we're going to post it on YouTube, hopefully on Facebook and everything. And yeah, so Stephen, if you want to get the ball rolling,
well, very quickly, where are you coming from, Neal? Are you in America or are you in the UK?
No, I'm in Liverpool at the moment. I've been in Liverpool for, I think, since the middle of February now, just before, obviously lockdown started. So I've been here for 7 or 8 weeks now. But from tomorrow, tennis clubs are back open. The government are opening them up. So I'll be able to get back to training tomorrow at my local club.
Yeah, and do you want to tell us a bit more about your local club? Because I know some people on here will know it.
Yeah, so basically I grew up next to Palmerston Tennis Club. So I've basically been playing since I was about 3. Basically just going out through my garden, the back gate, playing tennis with my brother. He's 6.5 years older than me. So I was always looking up to him. But he was always better, so he was pushing me along. And he was always a benchmark of where I wanted to get at. And then eventually we managed to start playing professionally together on the tour for probably 5 or 6 years until I made the move to play with Jamie Murray. And here we are today. We're still waiting for the coronavirus to obviously come down in the around the world, so the ATP can come back, and hopefully we can do that sooner rather than later. But very difficult, and I can't see it happening anytime this year. It probably would be a bonus if we got back this year.
Yeah, I think you're right. I guess that brings you to the sort of first question is, obviously, grew up playing in Liverpool. What was the decision? When did you kind of know you wanted to go to, for those of you who don't know, Neal went to Louisiana University, is that right, LSU?
Yeah,
what was
Louisiana State University. So it's in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, the capital. I went there for 4 years on a scholarship. The reason I went there was because also my brother went there. I didn't really play junior tournaments growing up at a ITF level, like traveling the world and getting points and having a ranking at under 18 around the world. So colleges around America, that's what they kind of base the recruiting off, is that your ITF ranking. So I didn't really have an ITF ranking. So the only way the coaches knew about me was through my brother. So I basically went to LSU because of my brother and the coaches taking a chance on me and giving me a scholarship.
It worked out well, I guess. What did you study?
I basically made my own degree up. It was general studies, but it was put together between kinesiology, psychology, and social work. And then that kind of got me through.
You just did enough to pass.
Yeah.
What was it like then moving to, was Ken at the university when you went there? Or what was the move like?
No, there was a 1 year gap between us. It would have been nice to play at least 1 year with him so he can kind of show me around a little bit and teach me what college life was all about. But I managed to, the year he left, I went there just for a week just to get used to it. He showed me around a little bit. And I loved it. I mean, the American football team, the stadium holds 102,000. So you get to, which is crazy, really. It's I think it's the 5th biggest in America. You get to see the baseball team, softball, the athletics. Just the facilities are out of this world compared to England. And also you also get a degree out of it, which is great, really. I kind of went to university basically just to get more match practice in, because I didn't really play juniors, like I said. So I went there, I was playing 2 or 3 matches a week, playing in a team environment, which I love. I think it brings the best out of me. So I enjoyed my 4 years there. I grew as a person, got a lot of training in, and also gym work, which was great for me because I didn't really do it as a junior. And then basically it put me onto a great stepping stone before I got towards the pros when I graduated. And I started off in January. Give the singles a little bit of a go. I give it like 6 months, and then I kind of decided it wasn't for me, like financially, and also Ken was looking for a partner at the time, so I decided to go strictly doubles with him, because I thought for me to go up the rankings as quick as possible, there's not many people inside the top 100 in the doubles rankings that want to play with a guy that's 750 in the world. So I couldn't not do that. So I decided to do that. We made, in our first tournament, we actually won futures in Italy. Then we won one in England, and then we got a wild card to play in the Nottingham Challenger, where we lost in the final to John Peers and Jamie Murray. So that kind of held my ranking out big time, and also confidence-wise for Ken to know that I was able to play on that level. And then that's what's basically made me who I am today, really.
Does he still is he still trying to claim 20% of your career earnings then, if he made you?
Yeah, I mean, I owe a lot to Ken for giving me that opportunity. But I mean, I'm playing with Jamie now, and it can be quite tough, especially seeing Ken at tournaments, and I'm not playing with him. But we do manage to play every so often. We started the year together. We played in Doha. So whenever I'm not playing with Jamie, I'll play with Ken, just because we know our game styles suit each other's, like.
Yeah, we'll definitely come to Jamie.
Like the Bryan brothers, they know each other's game inside out. So it's just nice to fall back on someone that knows my game so well.
One question we had submitted going back to the university days was that, do you think that's the best way if you're with a bunch of juniors, or so you've got a couple of kids online who I know play tennis, who play pretty good in England? Do you think that's the best route, knowing what you know now of sort of trying to make it the sort of American collegiate system, or staying in the UK, or venturing into Europe, or like you say, traveling around trying to get points here and there? Would you say the US system has got it right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very difficult at a young age, like 17 or 18, to go pro and travel the world by yourself. It's a lot of money. Unless you're like one of the greats of the game, like a Roger Federer and Nadals, you have this, at a young age, you have a team around you, like you have a coach, you have a physio, you have a trainer traveling with you full time, and a lot of money backing you and sponsors. I think American college is a great way for people to go and kind of test their level. So, I mean, you have people like John Isner, he went to college, Steve Johnson, all the good Americans, they normally go to college at least for 1 or 2 years. Like Isner and Johnson, they went for 4 years and they won NCAAs. But there was other greats that went, like the Bryans went, McEnroe went. You have many great guys that went to American college, and it wasn't too late for them to go pro. I think if you go pro too early, like at 17, you kind of, when people are finishing college around 22, 23, you've been on the tour for 4 or 5 years now, and you still could be not making that much money, and you're also, your body is starting to get more tired, you're getting injured. The guys in college, they're finishing their degree, they've got a degree out of it, so they've got something to fall back on, which I have. Yeah. So if tennis stops, I'll have a degree. And then also they're coming out of it, they've played a lot of matches, they've probably won a lot of matches, and they're fresh at 22 when they've grown up. Their bodies have matured a lot more, they're stronger, and they're coming on the tour with a lot more fire compared to the guys that when they're like 18, them guys are like, they could be a little bit down.
Yeah, definitely.
Their confidence could be shot. So it's just, I mean, there's different ways you can look at it, but for me, I think a lot of people, unless you're like the very top junior, I think you should go to college at least just for 1 or 2 years, and you can kind of gauge where you're at. I mean, if you're you go to college and you start beating everybody, and the competition isn't great, then you should come out because you know you're better than college and you're probably
it's a good testing ground.
Good enough for the tour. So for me, college was the best thing I've ever done, and it's something you'll never forget.
Do you not,
yeah, definitely. I say it's the experience. Oh, go on, Paul. I was going to come to you anyway.
I was going to say, Neil, do you not think that that in the UK there's kind of a stigma that's attached to going to the colleges? If you're a top national or you're a very good county level player, there's a misconception, which certainly you and Ken and Sam Murray, who I've had lots to do. I mean, I'm Cheshire, I'm from Wallasey, and these guys have all had successful pro careers. I mean, they're very successful in terms of yourself and Ken. Sam probably less so, but still did brilliantly. Won a round at Wimbledon. But do you not think that some of the, I don't know, there's this stigma that means that if you're going to go to the colleges, then you're actually giving up on the dream?
I think at the a few years ago, I think the LTA, they frowned upon if you went to college. You were leaving and getting away. You weren't doing it their way. But then I would say about 5 or 6 years ago, they kind of bought into kids going to college. They started helping the kids, trying to get them into colleges and getting them scholarships, putting them into nice, good teams where they'd improve. So I think the more and more kids that have gone to American colleges, the LTA have got rewards out of that. Like a Paul Job, he won NCAAs. He's now been signed by, he's getting funded by the LTA now. Joe Salisbury, he went to college. He won the Australian Open doubles with Rajiv Ram at the start of the year. So there is a lot of success stories of people going to college, coming out and doing well on the tour. Like a Cam Norrie, he went to Texas Christian University, TCU. There's a lot of guys that have been to college, but now the LTA, they still back them once they've come out of college. So I think that kind of the stigma's changed a little bit, and now the LTA are trying to get on board. And if you're not good enough to go pro at an early age, they're sending you to college to try and keep you in the game and see if you can develop. And then down the line, you'll hopefully get points and become a professional tennis player.
I mean, the one for me is Joe. I was not shocked at all about Ken. Steve knows this story. I actually was working with a guy who Ken used to play quite a lot as a junior, as a 10 and 12-year-old, which is a guy called Craig Barnard, who maybe you know. I know. And I used to teach Craig. And I remember one match. It was in Birkenhead. I'll never, ever forget it. And it was a doubles match. It was two Lancashire players versus Ken and Craig. And Ken was, at 10 years old, the best example of doubles I've ever seen at that age, ever. And I remember, unfortunately, my friend Dave Patterson, who you might know from tournaments and stuff, he used to be the county development officer of Cheshire. I remember going into a meeting with him and just yelling that, this is a guy who clearly could make a career out of doubles. And they were like, fortunately, he was working with Chris Peat at the time, so Chris knew what he was doing, and obviously he did pretty well. But yeah, I have to say, Joe, I never thought I'd see Joe where we are now, and I think it's another testament to the college system.
Yeah, I mean, he's since coming out to Memphis, he played singles for a little bit and doubles. But I could always tell he kind of had something about him. He's very, very athletic. He could get around the court. I think he's improved a lot in his doubles over the last 2 or 3 years, especially because he's been able to work with Louis Caillet a little bit, who's regarded as one of the best doubles coaches in the world.
Paul's hero.
He is my hero, just so you know. I spent a year working with Louis, and I just think Louis changed British tennis. I think it was him. You can say anything about everybody, but for me, Louis Caillet is the best coach in the world, bar none.
Yeah, he's changed a lot of guys into average players into world class doubles players. He's done a lot. I mean, obviously, he changed Jamie Murray's game. Jamie was looking at stopping, and I think he was around 120 in the world or something at one stage. And then he employed Louis Kaya, and then a few years later down the line, he was world number one, which is amazing, really. So he does have that effect on players. He's got, I think, it's used to coach Daniel Nesta. He got him to world number one in doubles, probably one of the best doubles players of all time, if not the best. Individually, I would say the Bryans are the best team. But I mean, just the detail he puts into his practices is just quite remarkable, and it's just something that you wouldn't really think about if you're doing a general coaching session. The first time I started with Louis, he asked me to warm up with my brother just for 5 minutes up and down. I mean, the 5-minute warm up lasted probably 25-30 minutes because I wasn't practicing properly. So the first initial interaction with Louis was very intense. So you had to be on it from the very start. So your level automatically increases.
I mean, yeah, I could keep going on about him. I want to ask a question. Well, I want to bring the guests in, Steve. So
I was going to say, should we start with the youngest?
Yeah, we've got the Cassidy brothers. If they would like to come off mute and ask their first question, that would be fantastic.
So hold on, I'll jump in for it. So my 10-year-old's been a bit shy. My 12-year-old's going to be sitting here. But so I've got a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old that both play up to kind of like county level. The young one's in county training, and the older one kind of just mixed out on that patch. But my question was, as the younger of two brothers, what are the advantages and also then disadvantages of this, really, in kind of junior tennis for you?
Yeah, so basically, growing up, obviously Ken was 6 years older than me, so I was always looking up to him. I was always playing upper level. So I was basically playing always against someone that had better technique than me, who was a lot more powerful than me. So I was always playing up, and I was always improving. I would say also when I'm watching him play tennis in an older generation, like when he's at tournaments, I was watching and seeing better tennis rather than watching my age group playing. It's because it's a little less powerful and it was more loopy. As people would say, they're more hacking. But now, being able to watch my brother, I was able to see better tennis and how I could improve my game. And also, you kind of learn, like with my family, we learned. We watched my brother and what we did with him, and I kind of went down a different route. Like my brother went to like all around the country, probably he was playing tournaments every other week. And then for me, I kind of played tournaments once a month. We kind of cut the tournaments down and concentrated more on my education because I wanted to go to college. So I made sure that my education was first, so I could get into tennis, into the university that I needed to get into, get the right education, get my right GCSEs and A levels, so I could qualify. So it's just you learn from the older brother really on what you should and shouldn't do. So my family, our biggest thing was learning on not playing too much because I knew I wanted to go to university in America. So that's what I did. I played less, made sure my education was right, and then coming out of college, I also saw the rewards because my brother had been on the tour for 5 years while I was in college. I could see what I could do and what I couldn't do. And the first thing was singles. We are kind of similar in singles games. So basically, I knew I wasn't really going to make it as a singles guy. So I decided not to pursue singles. And I'd rather play doubles rather than wasting all the money of traveling around the world. and not making any money, and it was the best thing for our family to do, really.
Thank you very much. Have you got another question in the Cassidys, or shall I move on?
Move on.
No, I think we're good. They're going to be shy, so I thought I'd type the question first, then ask it. But yeah, no, that's good. Thank you.
No, fantastic. Thank you very much. Right, going over to Justin. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask Neal your question, please?
Well, being the older brother in the SB tennis pair, Neal, and unfortunately, and I do say this, unfortunately, having my brother turning out to be a far better tennis player than me, how much do you feel that you owe a debt of gratitude to your older tennis playing brother? And therefore, would you recommend that Paul Espy now tells God, the world and everybody how much he owes to his older brother?
Yeah, I mean, I for me personally, I can't say anything about you guys, but for me personally, I owe a lot to my brother, because he's put me on the right path all the way through my career, really. And he's given me opportunities that I probably would never have done if he wasn't around. I mean, if it was me by myself, I probably wouldn't have gone to college. I wouldn't have known about the college system, and also I wouldn't have moved up in the rankings as quick as possible if it wasn't for him. To play with a guy top 100, it was a very unique situation, really. So for me, I owe a lot to him. You guys, I would still say that.
No comment. Comment is the best answer, Neal.
Paul owes you a lot.
Yes, you said it. Cheers, Neal. That's all I wanted to know. I'll pass the book now on to somebody else.
Should we head over to Tom? Tom Wilson, do you want to unmute yourself? I know you would love to ask the question.
All right, Neal. Thanks for doing it. Really good. Yeah, sort of. I'm a coach in the UK, and obviously find it really hard at the moment. Sort of, what do you suggest, and maybe tell me what you're going through and how you feel as a player.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult at the moment. I mean, I've basically been. I mean, the LTA have been pretty good for me. They've given me quite a bit of training gear to trying to stay fit as much as possible. They've given me a watt bike. I don't know if you've heard of the watt bikes. It's like a indoor bike, but it has resistance. They give us resistance bands, med balls, weighted vests. They give us a lot of stuff to kind of keep fit during this period, because no one's able to play tennis. Luckily, from tomorrow we're able to start practicing again, but it's going to be very difficult, because you know that if you come back too quick, you could get injured, because your body's not it's got into that rhythm of just sitting around and not doing much and not playing, hitting tennis balls. So you kind of have to make sure that you look after your body when you come back, and do all the right things to make sure you're warmed up before playing. But like for coaching wise, I mean, it must be very difficult for you guys. It's a very unfortunate time, isn't it, with this coronavirus? No one really saw it coming. But I mean, not luckily, but it's good that coaching can start again tomorrow on like an individual basis. You obviously have to keep your distance, and I think you have to mark your balls or something that I've seen today. But it is tough times, and I mean, I think it's going to be a long time until we see competition, especially internationally. Maybe you might see some things nationally in the future during the summer, but it is very difficult, and hopefully we can just come through this quicker rather than later, and hopefully we keep everyone safe. And it's not the best of times, really.
Yeah.
Tom, have you got a T-shirt that says Tuesday Tennis?
Tennis Tuesdays, yeah.
Do you have one for every day?
Should do.
And I thought I was a geek.
That was the LTA's great scheme that didn't work.
Oh, right.
Another one of those.
Fair enough.
We won't go down that road.
No, the LTA have been good to us, to be honest, so far, helping us out, giving us.
I have to say, it was possibly the first time for 25 years that I was envious of not being in the UK when all this negativity happened. Unfortunately, because the LTA have had a lot of stick, and they get a lot of stick which is unjustified. They do get some stick that is justified, but I think the way that they've dealt with this situation has been second to none.
Yeah. I think they've done all the right things. They've obviously cancelled all the tournaments well in advance. Especially like Wimbledon and Queens and all the other tournaments like Eastbourne. It must be difficult for them because they're obviously losing a lot of money themselves. I think they've furloughed a lot of people as well, the LTA. So it's difficult times for not just us. It's also the LTA, just to make sure that they stay afloat as well in the future. Because if they start to struggle, then it's tough to see what happens with tennis in England and around the UK. Really.
Do you have sort of groups that you go to with a certain coach? How's that going to work now?
From tomorrow.
Yeah, well,
So basically, my brother lives like 5 minutes away from me, which is pretty nice, really. So I'll hit with him from tomorrow outdoors at our local club, where I'm like my back garden, really. So I'm pretty lucky because some people aren't really. They don't have anybody around really to hit with. I don't know everyone's situation, but to have someone who's top 50 in the world just around the corner is nice. But just the feeling of what we're practicing for. Are we practicing to get back to competition in a couple of months, or are we just practicing because that's what we normally do? We just don't know the situation. We don't know when tennis is going to start again. So it's kind of strange times.
Say again, please, Tom.
I said, in a way, he's got a massive advantage compared to someone. Obviously, doubles partners is a lot more difficult if you're in different countries. And
yeah. I mean, it is very difficult for a lot of guys. I mean, a lot of the time, it's doubles teams are not always from the same country. They're from different countries. So the only time they get to practice is when they turn up at tournaments. Probably like the tournament starts on a Monday, they would probably get there on a Thursday or Friday the week before to get a few more training sessions in together because they haven't seen each other for maybe a couple of weeks. So that it can be tough, but obviously this time now you take time off and try and rest the body because the tennis season is long. It's from January to November. So our players taking time off now because this is the only time they will get a rest. Or do you get back thinking, oh, maybe the tournament will start again soon? I need to start practicing like it's like a pre-season kind of thing. So it is difficult for players, but the main thing is that we get back onto the tour when it's right for us and also safe for us to play.
Yeah, massively.
Is Jamie able to go and hit with Andy? You four will be on fire by the time they get back on tour.
Well, I know I've been doing Zoom workouts with Jamie, Andy, Johnny O'Mara, and a guy called AD McHugh. He's one of the up and coming Scottish lads. So I've been doing stuff with them, and Andy's just got, you might have seen on his Instagram, he's just got a wall put in his front. So he got that installed a couple of days ago. So he's been using that, but now I know the NTC is opening it up later this week. I don't know if that's if everyone does.
It's out there. Don't worry, it is out there. I've seen the same thing.
So I'm sure Andy will be hitting with Jamie or other guys that live in the London area.
I mean, on Andy, Neal. Oh, Steve, go on, carry.
I was only going to ask who's the fittest.
Well, I was just moving in with that, I suppose, Steve. I was going to ask, how much did you know of Andy's ailments throughout the last sort of 2 years, Neal? Because it must have been a tough one for all of his colleagues and friends like yourself.
Yeah, so I mean, I've known Andy for a while, but I've only got to know him a lot more recently, especially when we played Davis Cup together in November. I got to know him a lot more and kind of get to know him and how he is off the court, because everyone sees him when he's on the court. You don't really see him off the court, and obviously everyone watched that documentary about him on Amazon, and that was incredible to watch. But we knew during Davis Cup that after the first day he wasn't going to be able to play the whole week because of his. I think he injured his. It wasn't his. I don't think it was his hip. I think it was his groin, maybe. So he's still struggling with that now. I don't know what he is. I don't know what he is like at the moment with like tennis wise, because he hasn't played for 7 weeks. But I'm sure that's the 7 weeks has helped his body recover a little bit. He seems fine on when we're doing workouts. He's not stopping at all. He's 100% doing what we're doing, which is good. Really, it's a good signs. But it's not like we're doing sprints from across the court. We're only in our living rooms doing weights. So I think the more and more he gets on court during this period now, we'll see if he's able to go when the tour starts again, because he was talking about maybe having another surgery. That was just before the lockdown had started. Would he have surgery again, or because he had only just kind of stopped his rehab from the groin injury just before lockdown. So it's either come back, see how the injury is, and if it's bad, then get into operation. But from what I seen or what I was told, he was practicing fine. He wasn't having much pain in that area. So hopefully he's got over that groin injury, and we'll soon find out what his plans are for the future.
Stephen?
Well, I was going to say, fingers crossed. I think we all want to see him back. Hopefully his corona might give him a bit of time. Would you guys drive down to the NTC, or how? Maybe, I mean, obviously could give you a chance to play with Jamie and Ozzy. Do you want to even tell us how Jamie came about?
Yeah. First of all, we're like driving down to the NTC. I think at the moment it's probably not the best time at the moment with all the there's still a lockdown, and it's a 4-hour drive for me. So I probably wouldn't go down there at this stage. Maybe when things open up a little bit more, and we know when tennis is going to come back professionally, then I might start to go down there and play a little bit more. In regards to how we got playing together, he had been playing with Bruno Suarez for a few years, won a couple, I think 2 or 3 Grand Slams with Bruno. And then during the Rome Masters last year, I got a text saying he'd stopped with Bruno, and he had spoken with Paul's best mate, Louis Caillet, that he thought that I was the perfect. We would match up very well. So it was very tough for me and also my brother to kind of, because we were probably having our best season up to that. We had made 5 finals in a row, I think, on the tour. We just won an ATP on clay for the first time in Budapest. So our confidence was high going into the French Open and stuff. But it was very difficult to turn down someone like a Jamie Murray, who's been world number 1. He was currently in the top 10 of the world, multiple Grand Slam winner, and it also gave me the opportunity of playing maybe obviously Davis Cup, which I did, and also it would give me the opportunity of being in the Olympic team. So it was unfortunate the Olympics it got called off this year. So I'm hoping to make the team next year in Tokyo. I mean, we don't even know if that's going to go ahead because it's uncertain times at the moment. So basically that's how it went. I basically spoke to my brother about it. He was great. He was saying this could be the the opportunity you need to progress in your career and the rankings. It's very difficult in doubles. If you're not like top 30, you're not making Masters Series or 500 events. You're only in the 250 events or playing challenges. So that's what me and Ken were kind of doing, because I was around 45, Ken was about 50. So we were always playing 250 events. We weren't playing at the high level. So for me to make that jump, Jamie was the perfect stepping stone, and which has helped me really play Masters and 500s week in, week out, and also get seeded at Grand Slams, which is a big help on obviously your success.
Well, the Davis Cup must have been an amazing experience. What was it like? Obviously, it's changed. It was your, I believe, first time playing. Obviously, you got to the semi-final. Must have been.
It was probably one of the best weeks I've ever had on a court or team environment. Ken had played Davis Cup a couple of times, and he said just the team spirit for that week is incredible. So when I got the call from Leon Smith, I was so pumped about it, really. I mean, it was a goal of mine throughout my career to play for Great Britain. And when that came about, I was very happy. We went to Madrid. And yeah, I mean, it was a great week. We had a lot of success. We beat Holland on the first day, 2-1, Kazakhstan, 2-1. And then we played Germany in the quarters. And then we had two big singles wins by Kyle and Ben Evans to take us through to the semi-finals to play against Spain in Madrid, which was incredible. It was the first time we had played on centre court in the semi-final in front of 13,000, which was basically, it was like a bull ring. It was 12,000 Spanish fans and 1,000 Brits. But we couldn't hear the Brits that well because they were quite high up. They'd placed them nicely in the roofs, so we couldn't hear them. And then Kyle gets the first win. He beats Feli Lopez comfortably. And then Nadal plays Evans, and Evans plays well, but Nadal's Nadal, and it comes down to me and Jamie versus Nadal and Feliciano Lopez. I mean, it was a bit bad, really, because Spain had nominated Carreño Busta and Marcel Granollers in the doubles. And then 5 minutes before we're going on, we're warming up. I think there's like a 20-minute overlap from singles to doubles, and with 5 minutes before we're walking on, we're ready to go, and then we get told there's been a change. Nadal and Feli Lopez are now playing doubles, so it was a bit bad, really, because we had done all our scouting, we'd done everything on the team that we thought we were going to play, and then
they cheated, basically. They cheated. I can say that. You can't.
Yeah. So basically, it was tough. And then just 5 minutes to go, you're asking Andy, how does Feli play? How does Rafa? What's his favourite shots? What to expect, really? So I was going on court, and I was pretty nervous for the first few games until I held my first service game to go 2-2, and then I kind of settled down a little bit. It was just probably the craziest match I've ever played in, especially with the atmosphere.
Yeah, courts play against Nadal as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time I played against him. I didn't see Jamie hit a first serve to Nadal at the start, and he hit the back end past me. I didn't see it. The ball had passed me before I reacted, so I was like, okay, this is going to be a tough match. But I settled down. My eyes kind of got adjusted to it, the speed of the shots. And we tried to pick on Feli as much as possible, rather than picking on probably Rafa Nadal, one of the best of all time. So we got into the match. Unfortunately, we lost it 6-6. But Nadal came up with a few shots in both tie breaks to pull them through, and it was an unbelievable week for me and an experience. And hopefully I get to do that again in the future.
Yeah, we had one of your peers on, John Julian Roger, and he said Nadal is one of the best doubles players who sort of plays singles out there. He's actually, people might not associate, he's got Federer, he's got great hands, but he says Nadal is the one, actually in doubles terms, one of the strongest you can come against.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been able to play Federer in a doubles match yet. I played Djokovic last year. Me and Jamie beat him in Krajinovic. And then me and Jamie actually played Andy and Feli Lopez in Cincinnati. We beat them. But I would say, on a doubles perspective, Nadal was better than Andy and Novak, just for his like intensity on the court. It might have helped, obviously, being in Spain, but I think it was his intensity and also just the weight of shot he has on the ball was incredible. And the one thing I was surprised with was how well he serves. I mean, he served with a lot of pace and also so accurate, because he likes that lefty swinger wide to me. So I'm stretched on the back end. He gets us so short in the box and curling away, and then every so often he just pops one down the tee. I mean, I think it's very underrated as serve.
Neal,
like you say,
I apologise. Sorry, Steve. I apologise, Neal, if I've got this wrong. But didn't you and Jamie have a match point to go into the final of the ATP Cup, the Serbia match?
No, that was Jamie and Joe.
Jamie and Joe. Okay, I apologise.
Yeah, that was.
Don't bring up that slot.
Yeah, they had a match point against Australia, I think it was. I think it was against Kyrgios and Dimenau. And Jamie, he missed a shot that he shouldn't have.
It's a shot I think we all... I think I would have made that one even, but listen, Neal, I'm just looking at the time. We're looking as if we're going over at the moment, so I just want to get a few very, very quick fire questions in and make sure that we change the tone a little bit. So, Neal, Liverpool, what the hell's going to happen with this Premier League?
Void it.
Well, they said yesterday it will not be voided, so that Liverpool will be champions. So there will be no voiding of the league, and there will be relegations and champions. So we will be picking up number 19 at some point in the near future.
I mean, if that's how you want to win it, fair enough. But I think it's quite embarrassing.
Neal, when this lockdown went into full effect and we were basically told that's it, we can't even go on court, Stephen literally used the words, if anything positive comes from this, it'll mean that you guys don't win it. He is that bitter, that horrible. Yeah,
it's they're all the same, aren't they? The United fans and the Everton fans. They'll all get the asterisks out after we win the league and put it next to our 2019-2020 champions. But I mean, it must be tough being a supporter now of Everton or Manchester United.
We could have still finished top 4. I'm convinced we would have done it as well. Until it's mathematically impossible, it is possible.
Whatever. Stephen, we've got some 50-50 questions for Neal, and then should we get onto them so we can do these quick fire just to put him on the spot? Do you want to go first, Stephen? We'll do alternates.
Yeah, let's see how he goes. Okay, first one: coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Playing United or playing Everton live? Which one would you rather go
to? Everton.
Good. Indoor or outdoor?
Indoor.
Winning the Champions League or winning the Premier League?
Premier League.
Scouse pie or Louisiana crawfish?
Scouse pie.
Right answer. Can you imagine the amount of research he did on that? What's Louisiana's best dish? Chippy or Indian?
Indian.
Selfie or autograph?
Selfie.
Star Wars or Lord of the Rings?
Star Wars.
Thank God.
Paul will love you now. Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram.
Dinner out or movie with your other half?
Dinner out.
With your other half or something? No, I'm joking. Who's fitter, you or Jamie?
It depends what we're doing.
So you.
Beach holiday or city holiday?
Beach.
Now, so you were in America for a long time. So do you call it football or soccer?
100% football.
Thank
God.
you for that. Christmas in Liverpool or Christmas in Louisiana?
Liverpool.
Golf or football?
To play or to watch?
To play.
Golf.
Wow, that's interesting because, I mean, apologies, we've got more and I will go back to them. But I always remember there was a period where you weren't going to go the tennis route. You wanted to pursue football. Am I not right?
Yeah, I mean, I was a lot better at tennis than I was football. I mean, growing up, I always used to love playing football. I didn't really like playing tennis. So I always played a lot more football than tennis. But recently, for me, when I'm not playing tennis, I like to go out and play golf. And I think there's a lot more things that could go wrong if I play football and ruin my career than if I'm playing tennis. So I've been playing golf, so I'd rather play golf at the moment.
Do you have a handicap?
Hopefully there's no one watching that will I would say I'm around like a 16, 18.
What's Jamie? Because Jamie likes his golf, doesn't he?
Yeah, and Ken plays, isn't he?
Yeah, Ken plays. I think Jamie's probably up around 5 or 6. And Ken's probably around about a 6 as well, if he's playing all the time. But there's a few good guys like Johnny O'Mara, he's probably playing up below 5. Joe Salisbury's good. I know Tim Henman, he plays up scratch, I think.
Yeah, Tim Henman's brilliant. He comes over here quite a lot and plays in the events here.
Yeah.
So, right, back to it. Dalglish or Fowler?
Dalglish.
USA or England to be in?
Ooh.
England.
Good answer.
Kornikova or Ivanovic?
Kornikova.
Yeah, old school. Actually, the last one is from me, which I believe Paul's actually says: cinema or Netflix and chill?
Netflix.
I've got US Open or Australian Open?
Australian Open.
And then finally, to win a Slam or to win the Davis Cup or ATP Cup?
Ooh. Say that again?
What would mean more to you, winning your own Slam with your partner or winning the Davis or ATP Cup?
Davis Cup.
Good answer.
With Ken or Jamie? No, you don't have to answer that.
Both of them in the team.
That's a great answer.
Right, Steve, I think we've taken way too much up. We're already about an hour. Neal, I just want to say from bottom of my heart, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to all of us and give us an insight. It's really important, and I can't thank you enough and wish you all the very, very best. And hopefully when Dubai comes back around, I'll see you over here.
Yeah, hopefully I do better than I did this year in Dubai. But everyone stay safe, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate it, Neal. Thank you to everyone who came on as well. I'm sure you'll all agree that was great, apart from the Liverpool section.
Everyone's unmuted, so if you want to say thank you yourselves, go for your lives.
Cheers, Neal.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye.
great- Bye.
All the very best. Take care.